Guys, I want to just talk about it, and I want to honor and read her bio, but I just want to tell you that one of the first times that I ever talked to Katie Martin, I think, as you will feel if you've never heard her speak or you've not really associated with yourself with her social media, I think you will see what I mean. Not only is she an incredible creator, she's an unbelievable communicator, and she's truly one of the most gifted connectors that I've ever met. And so I will just tell you, when you have someone who just can curate, create, connect, she's just a home run, grand slam in everything that she does. I love her story. She originally came from Pennsylvania, where I live, and I just think she's just such a magical, magical person. She has been called a superstar influencer, an entrepreneur, and recently became a model with Wilhelmina Agency in New York City. Absolutely a dream recognizer. She's a manifester. She truly makes things happen. She is, besides being a makeup artist, a beauty influencer, fitness and fashion enthusiast, she's also a personal development mentor. She's created a course. She has this just great ability to show you what's possible. And Katie, I want to honor the fact that you have shown me a lot of things about myself and about this industry and about people. So I'm excited for people to learn from you tonight, as I have. So thank you so much for being on. Holly Kirsch has really been a huge part of her life. Holly enrolled her. She's really helped develop a lot of what Katie's done in this industry. She's done linked arms with Holly, and just their connection is super special. So without further ado, Katie, thank you so much for being on.
That is such a kind introduction. My goodness. Jess, I feel like the very first time that I met you, I was so blown away and wondered how I even got on that call. Like, I was like, how's this girl even taking my call? You're such a powerful force, and no one says no to you ever. And I'm sure that you would beg to differ, but I could never say no to you because you are so heart-led. And I look up to you, and I just admire everything that you've done. And that is evidenced by all the faces that are on this call tonight, and what she's built, and Denise has built, and everybody that's here, and Holly and Anne and everybody. I just have fallen in madly, madly in love with all of you. And you guys have just enriched my life so much. So for me to come here and to have your time and attention for a few minutes, I hope that I'm going to provide you guys with some value. Julie Westall, you are stealing hearts left and right, my dear. Erica, you guys are incredible. So thank you guys. It's such a warm welcome. I feel like I'm among family. So not nervous, even though I am kind of nervous. The exercise that I want to do with you guys tonight is a little outside. It's an audit. I think that we are so busy sometimes in our lives that we forget to kind of audit some of the things that in our lives that might be impacting our growth or not. And one of the things that, so we're gonna talk about a little bit of an audit. So everybody grab a sheet of paper. That's going to be really important, because I think what's going to be revealed to you in the next 5-10 minutes might surprise you when I start asking some questions. Because I kind of want to lead you blindly into this, that you'll be forced to kind of evaluate. And then we're going to talk about creating art for the sake of creating art, not necessarily feeling like we have to monetize every ounce of our creativity, which can just enslave us and just steal all the joy out of what we do every day. And that is such a bummer, because the best part about being in a direct sales company is that it is our life by design. It is our life by design. So if you create a life that enslaves you, you will be enslaved. And that is so much of what all of us are trying to run away from. So we get really, really caught in the, what the algorithm tells us what we need to do, and other things, that we forget to just have fun, and go back to being a kid again, because that's what it'll attract. And then we're going to wrap it up with just some of my core beliefs about running a business, and running a business at a very high level. But at the same time, how do you survive? How do you survive running a business at a high level? So, okay, everybody have their pen and paper. I kind of gave you the broad strokes. We're going to get into it. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to just think about the people in your life, like everybody, coworkers, family, friends, teachers, who are your besties for the resty, colleagues in this business, people from your, from your life before Isogenics or your life with Isogenics. Maybe you're in another job still, and this isn't your full-time income. And then I want you to take all those people that you're thinking about and your mind is bouncing around to all of them. And I want you to distill it down to the 5 people. There are 5 names that make this list. And they are the ones that you talk to every day. Every day. Here are the requirements. These people have to be an adult. Okay, can't be a kid. Has to be an adult. And these are the 5 people that you communicate with most on a day-to-day basis: a spouse, a neighbor, your sister, your best friend, a coworker. Your grown children can count as long as they're adults. And then I would say that you could also put one alternate on. And the reason I say you could put one alternate on this list is maybe this is somebody that you pray for, that you worry for. They occupy your mind a lot. And maybe you don't get to talk to them every single day, but they are just on your heart nonstop. And they just take up a lot of room in you and in your life. Okay? So I'm going to give you a minute, just 30 seconds, and write your 5 names. Ready, go. Okay, when you guys are done, just look up at the screen so I know you're done. Okay. Okay. So for each of these people, we are going to ask 4 questions for each of these people. Okay. Number 1, and you're going to just write a score. Just write a score like 1 through 5. Okay. On a scale of 1 through 5 for each person, first question is, do these people inspire you with the way that they live their life? Have they created a life or a lifestyle that you find very aspirational? Maybe not every aspect of their life, but maybe they're that person with the amazing relationship. Or maybe they're the one that has the amazing career. Or maybe they're the one that has the home that you love and in the place that you live, or the place that they live. Their zip code could be. Or maybe it's somebody that you just admire for their unwavering faith. And you're like, man, I wish I had that, right? Does the way that they live their life you find completely aspirational? Like they're way up here. And you're like, man, I want to be Jessica Regner. Okay. Question number 2. Everybody ready for question number? You guys got your scores for your 5. Ready? Question number 2. Do they hold you to a high standard? Do they elevate you, gas you up, pour belief into you? Do they tell you what your strengths are and they fill you with vision of what your life is and what it could be? Just buckets of belief on you. Hold you to a high standard. Third question. Ready? This one's sticky. Are they honest with you, even when it's hard to hear? All right, last question. Do you feel unconditionally loved by this person, and the value that the value that they place on you being in their life is equal to the value that you place in them being in yours, and that you both consider yourselves to be the luckier of the 2? Like, damn, I'm so lucky that I have this person in my life and I know they feel the same about me. Because it's something to have someone that inspires you and that holds you to a high standard and they're honest with you. But maybe that's all just yucky judgment. Do they love you? Do you feel unconditionally loved? and that you feel so lucky to have them and they feel the same about you. Okay. Sometimes the people that we have the most interaction with in our lives don't necessarily meet the highest level of criteria. Is there anyone that's willing to raise a hand and say that at least one person on that list didn't quite score some high marks? Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Sometimes we can't change who we have in our lives as far as just communication and having somebody that might be just not adding to your life at all, right? You know, they say that the best part of how you know what a great relationship is that they multiply your joy and divide your grief. But maybe we're kind of stuck with some people, right? We could be stuck with a few. But here's the great thing. You get to choose who gets to be in those, like you get to set some boundaries on the access that you give to yourself on that. Okay, so I want you to turn your paper over, and anybody that scored high marks, you're going to carry their name over, and then you're going to start filling in. Now that you know what the criteria is, right? Do they inspire you? Do they hold you to a high standard? Are they honest with you even when it's hard to hear? And do you feel unconditionally loved? And feel free to write down any other criteria that is meaningful to you in terms of who makes the cut and who doesn't. Carry those people over to the next page. Now that you know what the criteria are, can you think of some people that you could add in? Here's where you get to change the conversation. It's not, oh shit, I'm stuck with these people. What do I do? It's not necessarily who do I have to block from my life? It's who do you have to speak to more? Who do you fill in the gaps with? Who are the people that you get to choose to cross into behind the velvet rope? Now that you know the criteria, who can you think of to fill in so you have 5? Was that easier to do? Could you like instantly think of a couple people and you're like, yeah, I got it. I know my people. And did you think, man, I got to call that person. It's been a minute. Right? This is the power where you take back your power and you're like, I have the power to go make those connections and cultivate that relationship. And even if that's just your faith in God, right? That's a powerful place to go and say, you know what? I'm not working on that relationship. I really ought to be. Okay. That might be your alternate, the person that you don't get to like, get dialogue with necessarily. It's one-way dialogue, it feels like sometimes. But that's a meaningful relationship for so many of us, right? Okay, here's where it's going to get uncomfortable. I want you to think about yourself. We constantly want to go looking around and lifting the cushions and say, what's everyone giving me? What am I getting from my relationships? Right? Is this person measuring up? Feels real good to stand way up here and be like, I don't know about all y'all. If you're asking people to show up for you and be and inspired and inspire you by the way they live their lives and to hold a high standard and to be honest even when it's hard to hear and to be unconditionally loved, how are you showing up for 5 people? Are you doing that? How would you score? How would you score yourself? That's really, really the most important question of this exercise. You can't ask people to show up for you if you're not willing to do the same. So you have to check in with yourself. It's not just what I say I'm doing? Am I really living a life that other people would find inspiring? Am I living it? Am I showing it? Do I hold myself in high regard? Do I have belief in myself? Do I think I'm the shit? Right? If you don't think that, you will not attract other people that also think that. And that's not a vanity game. That is like, I am living and I'm walking the walk. I do what I say. I have big goals, big dreams, and I'm not afraid to fail. That's sexy. Okay. So really, this is all about how you're showing up and the whole old saying of like, what you think about, you bring about. And this is just an important audit, and it's meant to remind you of who gets access to you and who doesn't, how you check in with the people. Maybe it's time for you to do the thing, which is I want to step into being honest with some people, even when it's hard to hear, because I do love them and I need them to challenge me more. And I do believe in myself, but I don't see them believing in themselves. So how can you step in and be impactful for the people that are around you that you care about the most, right? Raise the bar for them. That's on you. Okay, I mean, this is like the whole old saying, you are the sum total of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. That's it. We just did it, right? You've heard the saying, but have you ever done the exercise of really evaluating who those 5 people are that get the most time out of you? And are they adding to your life? So that is exactly what that exercise is meant to do. This will always start and end with you and how you show up. I want you to leave that feeling, not feeling powerless, like, oh, my people suck. You need to feel powerful in that you get to change the conversation and invite new people into your world that are going to elevate you. Okay? Good exercise, everybody. We felt cool about that. Definitely maybe some eye-opening things, some affirming things, maybe some like, hey, I felt like, man, I'm not as far off the mark as maybe I need to lean into these relationships a bit more of the people that really do elevate me, right? Okay. One of the things that I learned along the way, and this is something that is probably just an extra credit, you'll never know how important a relationship could be to you unless you're willing to ask something of that person that is so hard that it makes you sweat and it makes them sweat. And here's the question. Maybe this week, as you're going about your life and you're thinking about the exercise that you did, and you've got someone that scored big. They scored big. They're the big winner. They're the MVP. What would it feel like to go to that person and say, I love you. I would love to be open and receptive to hearing what it's like for you to experience me when I'm at my worst. They're going to feel uncomfortable. Like, really? You want me to tell you the truth? I want to know what it's like for you to experience me at my worst. That is a major bridge builder in a relationship. Whatever they say, you have to create safety. They're not going to see that coming. I promise you that. But I just wonder what would happen. And that kind of leads me to my next little bit, which is one of the core beliefs that I have about my business and my life is this is one of my like ethoses, like an ethos of who I am. And I apply this statement to almost everything I do. And it's so simple. It's the following statement. I wonder what would happen if, fill in the blank. I know that seems so elementary and so honestly silly, but it has been such a guiding light for me because it does a few things. It keeps me curious about everything, right? And I get to always be a student of everything because I'm so curious about everything. And I think it also invites this idea that by experimenting, I don't not necessarily have attachment to success or failure because it's all an experiment, but I accept that either outcome is possible. I accept it from the beginning. I'm not so deep in this has to work, you know, or else, because that's just loaded with pressure. It's a different mindset. It's like almost like just having wonder, just a wonder, like a childlike wonder of, geez, I wonder what would happen if I reached out to that old friend of mine. I wonder what would happen if I, instead of posting once a day, I'd post twice a day. I wonder what would happen if I, you know, ordered that one thing off the Isogenics menu that I was too afraid to try because I was nervous about X, Y, or Z, which just is a limiting belief. And I wonder if I just committed to doing it for 30 days, what would happen? Curiosity is so beautiful. And I think that we lose our sense of curiosity the older we get because our lives are just so filled with obligation and, pressure, and we have to perform and we have to earn and we have to, show up, and that just gets so hard and draining, and it just sucks the joy out of everything. So I bet you that if I asked you to write on your paper 1 through 20, and you had to write, I wonder what would happen if, and then fill in the blank 20 times. And these are all just things with your business, just curiosities, things that you're curious about over the next 7 days. Just write down 20 things. I wonder what would happen if. I'm not saying you have to do them all, because if you did them all, then that would turn into obligation as well. And then you'd be like, shit, I just made this big list of all these extra things that weren't on my list before, and now they are. And now I feel crappy because I'm only going to check 2 of them. And then the other 18 are just going to make me feel like a loser. Don't do that. This is curiosity. Maybe just pick the one that feels good. Recently, I'll just give you an example. Recently, I've been a once a day poster for a really long time. Instagram is my main platform. And I was just like, I'm pretty much at my bandwidth. I don't think that I could create, film, edit, whatever, any more content than I really am right now. Like, I'm at max capacity. Myself, I have 2 staff members. We can't do anymore. We can't even follow up with anymore, because really, as we all know, the fortune's in the follow-up. So the more content we churn out, the more comments we have to respond to, and the more follows we have to do. And that's a lot, right? You're ladling it on. So I thought to myself, well, how can I experiment and I wonder what would happen if I posted twice a day, but instead of creating new content, I just went back to my old content that worked before and just repurposed 1 post a day, and then had one that was new. Then I don't have to change my output. I just have to go back in the archive and look. That was actually a fun experiment in and of itself, was to go back and look and see, well, what did well, right? There was some major KPIs that I found in looking back. Which ones were the top performers? How many of us have actually gone back and evaluated the data on our social medias? It's a lot of work we do in there, It's a lot of work. You're a producer, a director, a casting director, you're an editor, you're a, sound mixer. You're like all these things that companies pay billions of dollars a year in ad agencies to create content that is going to sell a product, and you're one person doing it in nooks and crannies of your life. Congratulations. Like, that's a big deal. So rather than just posting and then having something kind of fall into the abyss of history and there it's gone, it's here today, forgotten tomorrow, maybe go back and look. I'm going to tell you something. I've been on a banger of a week. I've gone up to 2,000 people in the last month because I've started to recycle this content, and I'm posting twice a day now. Again, it was experimental. I was like, let's try it for 30 days, see what happens. Yeah. Because the truth of the matter is only 6% of the people that follow you will ever see 1 post on any one given day. That's the truth. So don't start beating yourself up that you're a crappy, Isogenics associate because nobody's buying from you, baby girl, they're not seeing it. You got to, lather, rinse, repeat, 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 repeat before they start being like, oh yeah, Sue's doing this thing now. That's so cool. I love what she's doing. They got to see it. And then they lurk and they watch and they wait. And then they're like, I've been watching you for a year. I'm ready to place an order. Happens every day. I always love the microwave popcorn analogy. You put the microwave popcorn in the microwave and it's like cooking its little heart out, 90 seconds, full steam, full go, full send. And nothing's happening. It's just turning in there. Microwave is just cooking. But by the end, we all know what happens. The popcorn bag gets full eventually, and it's usually in the last 30 seconds. But the microwave doesn't quit and like go crying and ordering pizza and watching 3 seasons of Grey's Anatomy going, I suck. So, staying curious is your lifeline to joy in your business and also treating your business like a business, because the more experimenting you can do, the more opportunities to pivot you will have. Nothing is absolute. No one strategy is going to work for everyone or for you forever. So you have to be flexible and adaptable. Nothing is constant but change. We know this. So being curious about what could possibly happen is the very thing that is going to keep you relevant. So it's all about having more opportunities to pivot in a direction that makes sense. Now, here's the key. Experimentation only goes so far unless you're willing to collect the data on the other end. Okay? That's where we have to take off our, childlike wonder hat and our experimentation hat and I wonder what would happen if hat. And we put on our big girl hat, big girl, big boy hat. Okay? And we say, I'm a business owner. I'm building $1 million business. This is what it looks like to build $1 million business. I'm going to start recording. Okay, these are the indicators of what's working and what's not working. This is what my community is responding to, and this is what they are not responding to. Okay, so then what do you do next now that you've got some data? Well, let's say that they are loving the nutrition posts, but really not loving, the collagen posts, let's just say, just for argument's sake. What I would do is I would start asking your community some questions. If you are lost in terms of what to talk about and what to say, the best thing you can do is to be social on social media, which is to create a two-way conversation with the people that are there and ask them, because they will tell you what they are looking for. And they will respect you for asking, and they will feel seen and heard, and they will stick around. So if you don't ask and you're just there word vomiting all over them saying, well, this is the latest, greatest thing that I just got this email from Isogenics and they're coming out with this latest, greatest thing, and I don't even know if it's going to land on my people. I want them to know about it, of course. Be excited about it. Experiment with it. But if it's falling flat, ask them why. Maybe they're underinformed. Maybe you could do a better job educating them about certain aspects of it. Maybe you need more stories. Maybe you need some success stories, of which this is where I really hit a stumbling block with my Isogenics journey. Was I had an amazing story with the collagen with me, for me personally. Like I had felt major transformation because of that product, but I am way intolerant. I can't do the shakes. Even the vegetarian ones, the vegan ones, I can't do. They do not make me have a happy gut. And so in order for me to dive into those other products, I needed to source stories from other people that were having success. And look at all these beautiful people that you have. You have a whole room full of beautiful people with success stories of various shapes and sizes, right? Loads of stories. So lean on that. I wonder what would happen if I asked 5 people this month who have had success in other realms of Isogenics, what if they could share their stories and help my community. better understand the product line, right? So, and then collect the data. Collect the data. At every stage, collect the data. And also, I just want to tell you that if you want to grow a community of loyal people, it's not just about the KPI being a conversion to a sale. If that's all that matters to you, then they will know it. You will not attract people that way. So you have to think about, okay, if I'm going to make a list of 20 things I'm curious about, tell me also 10 things that would be measurable results, ways of collecting data for your business that might help you. Okay. Maybe it's like, hey, I had an increased follower count from new people. I had, 5 new people that are within the company reach out to me and say how my story impacted them. Maybe I had people that were old customers call me up and say, I saw this thing, and you've revived and gotten a follow-up and kind of breathed new life into an old lead that has gone stale. There's all kinds of indicators that you can measure that have nothing to do with just getting a sale or just enrolling someone. All of that is building toward a bigger business, all of that. And maybe it's a prospect or somebody that's been watching and is curious about the business opportunity, whatever it is. Make a list of 10 things that you want to collect data on that are going to be meaningful as you track. Okay. And then you got to be willing to let go of some of the stuff that's not working, right? You might love your dog and you might love putting your dog on the internet. But and I doubt that your community doesn't love your dog. I mean, who knows about Miss Peaches? Miss Peaches is taking over the internet. So if anyone, this is how much the world loves dogs. I have the sweatshirt. I wore it 4 days in a row without washing it. Sure did. So I'm just saying, if it's your knitting content or your cooking content or whatever it is, your bowling league that you share, and it's just not getting, the way I also look at it is we only have so many at-bats on social media every single month. Like for me, I thought, oh man, I only have 30 at-bats. I better make them count. I only got 30 chances to get people's attention. That's a lie. Because I just took 30 and made it 60 without really much extra work. And I'm proving that I get more than 30 chances to capture people's attention and their heart. But I'm looking at the content that's meaningful to them. Maybe it's not my fitness stuff. Maybe it's not my mindset stuff. Maybe it is, health and wellness is what's hitting for them. Lucky me, right? And if you find that it is your knitting content that is hitting, maybe you say, hey man, I have nimble fingers because I take collagen twice a day, thank God, right? Find a way to work your product into the content that's hitting. Get creative. I wonder what would happen if. Okay? Most will experiment, but they'll forget to collect the data. I've loved sharing this time with you guys. I hope it was helpful. I hope you had some takeaways. I hope that you feel good. I'd love to take some questions if anybody has questions, if you have time for it, but if you got to move on to some other things, I totally get it.
Anybody have any questions? Because I'll tell you what, Ann White has a question.
Hit me, girl.
Gotcha. Hi. Oh my God, Katie. Amazing. Guys, put a 10 in the chat. How amazing Katie is. Okay, collecting the data. Could you explain that a little bit more? When you say that, what do you mean?
Okay. So the first time that I did this, I've kind of expanded and broadened my viewpoint of what really are my KPIs, my key performance indicators. If you guys aren't familiar with that, corporate America term, I didn't spend a damn day in corporate America, but I do know that that's a term from that industry. So you can fact check me on that. Here I am flexing like I know all about corporate America. I don't know anything about that. So when I first did this, what I did was I started and did 30 days of content planning. I did a training on this. It's 30 days of content planning in an hour. And I know that sounds totally ambitious and you're like, there's no chance. But really what that means is you have to decide who you are, what is meaningful to you, and what your brand pillars are. So for me, my brand pillars are, I love makeup, I love beauty, I love fashion, I live at the beach, I'm a single mom. I talk about being a single mom sometimes. Obviously, health and wellness is really, really high up on my list, fitness. So I post about a lot of those things. I live at the beach, that people in my community need to know more about. I am my brand, right? Isogenics is not me. I am not Isogenics. Isogenics is part of who I am, right? So it was important that people get to know who I am. My followers can tell you that I love Oreos. They know I have 2 French bulldogs. They know a lot about me. So because I share, I still am very boundaried. I'm boundaried about my personal life, and I don't share anything about my kids or where they go to school or any of those things. It's okay to have boundaries. Please have boundaries. I latergram a lot about like where I am for my own safety. I'm a single mom. I go home by myself all the time. If I was like, hey, I'm doing this event tonight at this place and blah, 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 and like then people follow me home, that's not a good idea, right? So I'm careful. I'm cautious about things like that. But I wrote out on my 30-day planner, I said, okay, I'm going to talk about, I know that it's important for me to talk about the business opportunity once a week at minimum, right? I want to talk about it once a week. I can't forget to bring that up. Okay. Or I'm going to talk about my collagen experience or something about collagen once a week. I'm going to talk about how I keep myself fit and healthy. Maybe it's what I eat or how I work out or whatever that is. I'm going to talk about makeup once a week. I'm going to talk about whatever. And then I started to fill in like, okay, I can't forget to talk. These are the absolutes. I have to hit those marks every single month. So I just started filling them in. The other things that I would kind of base content around were like holidays, like, hey, it's a holiday and I'm enjoying this time with my family, or hey, it's a holiday and I'm whatever. It's the 4th of July and we're doing this thing for the 4th of July, or maybe there's a sale going on that's 4th of July related, things I needed to get out into the world, just like business, right? With the remaining days, I would just kind of fill it in with those things that are important to me, and like making art for the art's sake. What's joyful for me to create? What are going to draw people in? That's what's going to attract people, is they know when you're having fun and they know when you're just regurgitating facts, right? So do those things. Make sure you don't lose sight of land on that. You've got to put some stuff in there that's just like, man, what would feel awesome for me to put, and be completely divorced from the result of what it is. The result, the satisfaction is in the posting, right? The satisfaction is, oh man, that felt amazing for me to talk about pickleball, right? Holly Kirsch, right? And it felt great for me to post that and share that about my life because it really makes me happy. So I scheduled out my 30 days, and at the bottom of each of those, once I got like a week in and I let them soak for like a week, at the end of the 30 days, I went back and I looked and I said, okay, how many comments were there? How many likes were there? And again, not the whole world is about likes and comments, but they are good indicators of engagement because it does tell an algorithm what your community is responding to. I would even go so far as to say, how many saves and shares were there? Okay, because now we can get that data. So, and I talk on Instagram terms. I'm sorry, I know a lot of you guys are Facebookers, but like just, mirror kind of what I'm saying or try to parallel it. And I would look back and I would say, okay, well, what was the most engaged content? What were the categories of that? And what were the least? If it was a yoga thing that nobody was like, it was crickets and tumbleweeds all day, and I posted about yoga twice that month, then maybe next month I'm not going to post about yoga. I'm going to double down on the things that worked. Now, that initial experiment was beneficial in that it's not about just following up with your customers. You got to follow up with yourself and your own effort. What's working? What's not working? Any good ad agency is going to do that. They're not just going to put something out into the world and not see how it performed. They're going to have to go back and be like, I got to answer for all the money I spent on this, right? So, and like I said, not all of it has to do with immediately getting a sale. It has to do with the things that happen in incubating that sale that's to come. But it gives you insights on what's working and what's not. And then from there, I started looking broader. Okay. One of the things that I learned from Jess, this is This literally changed my life. Literally. I'm not even gonna lie. This is one of the most incredible things I've ever learned from her. Something that I'll never let go of. And that's writing an I am statement every single day. Powerful. Powerful. If you don't believe that you are already $1 million earner, it ain't never gonna happen. And it's not just about like, oh, I'm $1 million earner and you write it down. You have to feel how it feels to be that. You have to write about how it feels to be that, not just write the words. So that changed my business big time. And that carries a whole other list of KPIs. Like, commit to doing that for 30 days. Take social media completely out of the story. Just do that 30 days. I wonder what would happen if I wrote an I am statement every single day for 30. I wonder what would happen if I did it for 7 days. Here's the thing about people, y'all. If you were to go to your next prospect and say, and we can't say this because the SEC sucks, but if you said this, I guarantee you that you'd make $1 million if you worked on your business 1 hour a week for 6 years straight without taking a break. People be like, what? I'll stand on my head 1 hour a week. Or I'm sorry, 1 hour a day, 5 days a week. You get your Saturdays and Sundays off. 1 hour a day, 5 days a week for 6 years. Be a millionaire. Guarantee it. People be like, I don't care if you're selling like, rotten bananas. I'm in, right? But you ask the same person, okay, look, I need you to go to the gym 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, 30 days. For 30 days. They couldn't do it. How many of us couldn't do it? Day 21, had a root canal. Day 29, had a flat tire. Day 17, the baby puked on the dog. Life is going to get in the way. But are you going to be, persistent enough to say, I'm getting my hour in anyway? I'm going to be $1 million earner. I'm already $1 million earner. My future me is depending on me. My future me is hollering at me going, we're a millionaire. Just so you know, we're a millionaire.
Feel it.
That's the thing about people. But you gotta do the 7-day challenge. You gotta challenge yourself. 7 days, make one change. Write the I am statement. 7 days, post twice a day. See what happens. Curiosity, and then pivot. Never quit.
I wonder what would happen if we did all the things that Katie Martin recommends. I would venture to say it'd be easy to imagine you would be an incredible success, just like her, have that level of magnetism, fun, joy, vulnerability that just makes you so attractive, Katie. And this was such a valuable call. People in the chat are saying how they're going to rewatch it. So much goodness. I love this evaluation and audit list. Guys, I want to say, Lauren, I just texted Lauren Frierson and said, Lauren, you're on my list. You got all 5s. And I'm just grateful for some of the friendships that are on here. I could have written 5s for so many faces that I see here. And I just appreciate that exercise. It really challenged me on it too. So I would encourage you guys to really do this, to ask people you love to do this, because the more you're high vibing with other people that you love, the better your life is. So Katie, I want to honor you. We all dropped 10s of how great you are. Thank you, Anne, for saying that, but you just are tremendous, super valuable call. Guys, let's make it an amazing week. Let's go out and really just imagine what it would be like if we did one thing that scares us. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Katie.